You, right now, listening to this video, might be winning a large chunk of silver for free. Two of you, actually, so your chances just doubled. All you have to do is click one button. Subscribe. Once we hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to jump out of an airplane and announce the two winners mid-flight with a GoPro attached to my helmet so you could watch it all unfold. I'm going skydiving in celebration of 100,000 subscribers so you can celebrate winning while I'm literally falling out of the sky, hopefully not to my death. Make sure you don't miss it because this will be a beautifully horrific sight to see. This week's specials for Miles Franklin are 2023 1-ounce silver kangaroos, only $3.19 over spot, 90% dimes and quarters, $2.75 over spot, and quarter-ounce gold eagles for $69 over melt. We have a massive inventory and cheap prices. Folks, you could text, email, or call slayer@milesfranklin.com, and I'd be happy to help. Now let's get into the video. Well, folks, mark your calendars because on April 23rd, I'm going to be flying up in an airplane and jumping out of said airplane from the sky with a GoPro attached to my helmet saying two people's names. And the two names I say, which potentially could be yours, will be the winners of my silver giveaway. So make sure you go enter because there's not too much time left as that day is coming up very soon. And like always, may the luckiest two stackers win. Now, there's been a ton of great information coming out about silver, a lot of these numbers shedding light on how much potential and opportunity it has. This article goes over silver demand since 2013 to present, also total silver ETF holdings, the gold to silver ratio. But some interesting news has come out recently as well. Solar silver demand growth is moderate this year, but still hits records. And then we have Indian silver imports surged 260% in February. It was up from 637 tons in January. India is buying all the silver right now, right? And China is as well. If you didn't see my last video, China is literally just saying, let's take all the silver, forget these short sellers and market riggers, let's just buy it all. Since we know that they're rigging the price, we'll buy it all for cheap, and then we can set our own price, which we know is priced a lot higher as. So now we have India doing this, China doing this, we have Russia, which those are the three countries in the BRICS nations. So it's not too surprising, but it is happening right before our eyes. It's just if you're not aware or you're not subscribed to channels like mine, you would have never known any of this is actually happening. So right now, IIBX silver trade hits 908 million tons in 3.5 months of operations. So there is a lot of great news coming out, and you just got to be subscribed to the right channels to get this information. That's why I say subscribe, not for my sake, for your own. So anyways, though, let's dive into this article. So this article is titled "Further Upside in Silver," and that is something that I've been hearing a lot of. Is yes, it is up to, above $28 comfortably now. It's stabilizing at these prices, so it's not like we're going to jump up here and then shoot back down to $22 for the next couple of months. Like, we're sitting up here comfortably. So I don't think the days of $23 silver will be something that we will ever see again, unfortunately for some, or fortunately for others, depending on how you look at it. But the whole point is that silver is not anywhere near its all-time high where gold is, meaning that silver has a lot more room to run since silver always does follow gold. So the market is currently projecting that the United States would lower interest rates in June of 2024, which is when the gold price surge began. One significant resistance level, $2,080 per ounce, was broken by the COMEX gold prices at the end of February 24, which caused the prices to soar even higher. In the midst of geopolitical unrest, demand for safe haven assets and positive U.S. economic statistics helped to sustain gold prices. Silver prices are still not rising to their full potential in relation to gold prices, and since silver's fundamentals are stronger compared to gold, its potential for a rally this year is significantly significantly greater than that of gold's price. That is a great way to just break it down for both metals of why gold has so much potential and why silver has so much potential in their own fields. Gold is still a great asset to invest into and to preserve your wealth into as it holds its value as the economy declines and as tensions rise. But also there's this other metal that has other opportunities beyond just that of gold. In the recent several sessions, silver prices have increased by about $2. Actually, it's been about $3 in the last month or so. I remember filling orders for customers and clients at $25 an ounce, and that wasn't that long ago. Now it's up to $28. So it's due to the possibility of U.S. interest rate cuts. This occurred as a result of lower than expected consumer sentiment and the PCE index for February coming in line with forecasts. It's like the perfect storm. The demand-supply situation also encourages a further increase in silver's price. Since silver is lagging behind the industrial metals, it's performing poorly. China's aggressive silver purchases should intensify in order for silver's price to soar even further. The fundamentals of silver are far better to those of gold. Silver has a far larger surplus deficit than gold, which makes it much more appealing. The deficit market for silver has been growing over the past 2 years, which will eventually result in higher prices. Now, it has to. Number one rule for investors, or it's not even a rule, it's just this is when you're going to invest into something, this is what you look at. Supply and demand. Low supply, high demand does what? Pushes the price up. You can try to suppress the price, manipulate the price, rig the price, hold back the price, but fundamentals will always outweigh that. Low supply, high demand. There's no gold shortage because gold is always recycled and rescrapped and reused and remelted back into more coins and jewelry and stuff. But silver is thrown away. And as we saw, silver is blowing past records of supply deficits, and even with a modest uptick in the solar sector this year, we're still breaking records. And then we have India buying 260% more, and then China, the biggest consumer, which is buying boatloads of silver now, and actually is focusing entirely on silver now and saying, don't waste your money on gold, let's all buy silver now. China is doing this as of a couple of weeks ago, this article, or that last week that article came out mentioning that. We're seeing something massive happening right in front of our eyes. Here's a chart of silver demand. You can see how much it's gone up. You see the purple is industrial fabrication, and it's the highest. Now, a very, very worrying thing to take note of is that these numbers might be very wrong for very sinister reasons. If you saw my latest video about China now buying all the silver, then you also would have seen in that video that I talked about another article where they mention how military and aerospace uses more silver than solar alone. Why is that so important though, Silver Slayer? Because you see this industrial fabrication part, the number one use for silver in industry is solar. Silver Slayer, you just said military and aerospace uses more. It does. So why in this chart is solar number one? Because military and aerospace are not incorporated in annual numbers. The amount of silver that's used in military and aerospace are not used in our annual numbers. So when they say that it's possible that military and aerospace sector uses more silver than solar, well, those numbers are not incorporated. So if it's 1.2 billion ounces this year was the annual demand, it's probably a lot higher. Actually, we know it's a lot higher because none of the silver that we use in the missiles, the rockets, the satellites, the drones, the surveillance, and all the several things that silver is used for in those two sectors, none of it is incorporated. That is a big deal. That's a big deal. COMEX silver prices are about to rise further, and silver's return have the potential to outpace those of gold. Given the prevailing conditions, silver ought to have surged by now. Silver's supply and demand characteristics show that the metal's price is currently underperforming. So over the past 2 years, there has been a shortage of more than 1.2 billion ounces in the silver market. The Silver Institute estimates that the shortage in silver was over 1.24 billion ounces in 2022, and that it will only slightly decrease to 1.67 billion ounces in 2023. But given the ongoing increase in industrial demand and the growing use of silver in solar and green technologies, we think the shortfall in 2023 will exceed the projections made by the Silver Institute. Although China's contribution to the acquisition of the white metal is still low, the country is using more silver as its gold stockpiles rise. In the upcoming months, China's continued acquisition of silver for its many purposes will contribute to the metal's exponential price increase. Because the industrial sector and the bars and coin segments are expected to generate the majority of market demand, silver's demand suggests that jewelry and silverware sector may experience lower demand in the upcoming months compared to demand numbers observed previously. Nonetheless, the demand for silver investments, particularly from ETFs, might stay weak. However, if this ETF's demand for silver increases, the price of silver will continue to rise. And here's a chart showing that. So then you have silver supply. This is very alarming when you look at that supply is only around 850 million ounces when we saw demand up to 1.2 billion ounces, 1.3 billion ounces. They're actually projecting or forecasting 1.4 billion ounces this year. So according to the supply scenario for silver, mine production has been gradually declining until 2022, while scrap availability and scrap inflow have been steadily rising over the past few years. The impact of COVID was also a factor, as many mines have been closed down or producing losses, but more recently, many of them had resumed operations at full capacity or even have expanded. And yeah, COVID definitely put things to a standstill, because remember, not even were mines closed, but then when they were open, there was minimal workers, all that, safety precautions, but also a lot of the borders and boundaries were cut off in the shipping lanes and all that. So it was put to a huge halt, especially since Mexico and Peru got hit very hard from COVID, and those are the two largest producers of silver. Right? Mexico and Peru alone accumulate more than 40% of all the total silver. It's like Mexico, Peru, China, Australia, like those are the main countries, and those countries were hit hard. So that was a huge situation that put things into a very messy situation. So then they go into the gold to silver ratio. So the ratio of gold to silver suggests that silver is once again due for an accumulation. The amount of silver needed to buy 1 ounce of gold is expressed as the gold to silver ratio. It's currently 89-1, suggesting that silver is reasonably cheap and will likely outperform gold when both metals are in bull markets. So we already know about that. So now let's look at this outlook, because this is interesting. They actually go into stuff beyond just like the gold to silver ratio, yada yada. So silver prices on COMEX have climbed $22 from $22.27 to $26. It made a high of $27 per ounce, and now it's actually above 28 from this article being written. There's more room for growth. Prices might reach 30 and even higher in the upcoming months. We anticipate that the COMEX silver prices will test levels of $29 to $30 an ounce. Regarding the economy, the U.S.'s rate cuts already anticipated. The timing of the rate cuts is the focus of the attention. China's economy is likely to remain unstable, and the government there is likely to hoard silver in the same way it does gold, driving up prices. We also anticipate there won't be a geopolitical truce between Israel, Gaza, and Russia, Ukraine, which is also why price will stay higher, along with now what's happening with Iran. So there's a lot to unpack and unfold, and especially with the election in November as well. So there's just so many different angles, but it's all benefiting silver. It's like this perfect storm is here. The stars have aligned, the floodgates have opened, and every single thing is finally piecing together for silver to ignite. And the prices are stabilizing high enough for when it does take off, or that match is lit, the fuse is lit, it's actually able to take off and stay at these higher prices. And when it stabilizes above $30, sky's the limit. Because last time silver was above $30 comfortably like that was when it was in 2011, when it hit $50 or $49, whatever. So we are in a different era now. You can't compare this to something that happened last year, or you can't compare this to February 2021 with Wall Street silver. This is a completely different situation. We are stabilizing at higher prices. The economy's in a much different place. The supply deficit's a much different place. We are deep enough into the Green New Deal. The silver shortage is blatantly obvious now. There's wars now, and there's so many different factors now. So where you have the naysayers saying, "Oh, it's going to do nothing again," you cannot look at it from a historic perspective, especially given all the upcoming unknown variables as well that we don't even know. And a wrench will get thrown in. I can't even say might get thrown in. A wrench will get thrown in. They'll make things even crazier, right? We're living in crazy times, so expect crazy things to happen, especially nowadays. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. Comment down below what you think about this. Make sure you subscribe. Go into my giveaway, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys later today or tomorrow. Peace.